Hey there, and welcome back to eBEFOREi Video Reviews. Today I'm looking at something a bit different for my channel. This is AMC's The Walking Dead figure, and it's not just any figure. It's the Governor. That's right, it's the Governor, not from the comic, but this is the TV series Governor. So he's patterned after actor David Morrissey, and at least through the package it looks great. Let's take a quick look at the box, then we'll get this figure opened up. So the package looks cool. You've got blood splattered everywhere. It's a product of McFarlane Toys. There's warnings and choking hazards. It's small parts and small ball. Sorry, Governor. Not for children under 3 years old, but yet over here it says it's for 13 plus. So what happens if you're aged 4 to 12? I have no idea. And you can see it's part of Series 4. On the bottom of the box, you've got the Governor's face, and he's in front of the prison. And the prison is where some bad things happened. I don't know that I'm going to give away spoilers just yet, but if I do, I'll let you know. The Governor with alternate head, keys, a watch, and weapons. Why in the world would he have keys and a watch? Do you really, if you're in post-apocalyptic or just zombified Walking Dead universe, do you really even need to know what time it is? Again, based on the hit AMC TV series. On the back of the box, well, they're telling you about all the other things they want you to buy. In this case, it's Rick Grimes with interchangeable hands and weapons, Carl Grimes with hat, prison keys, and medical bag, Andrea with a pitchfork, rifle, and gun, the Governor, as we just mentioned, the riot gear zombie with flip-up helmet and knife, and gas mask riot gear zombie with tearaway, and maybe tears away too, with tearaway face and gas mask. They want you to go to McFarlane.com for, to see all their toys. And once again, you have the unhappy kid with the stick-up hair. He's aged 0 to 3, and he is unhappy. That was a look at TV Governor's box. Let's get him opened up and see if he's worth your time and money. Oh, no. No, I'm just kidding. So here's the Governor out of the box, and let's get him posed up here. All right, so the Governor has his swapped out head, and we'll talk about all this in a minute. But I will say, first impressions on this figure, he feels really good in the hands. Now, this is my personal first figure from the Walking Dead series. And I'm not really too familiar with McFarlane Toys in general. Again, I mostly review Transformers and Doctor Who and things. But I can tell you that this figure feels great in your hands. The problem with the newer Doctor Who figures and some of the latest Star Wars figures and such is that the figures themselves feel really cheap. The plastic just doesn't feel like it's very expensive. They feel hollow and things like that. This figure is really solid. I mean, when you get this guy out of the box, I mean, this is just, it feels like it's solid. It's got some weight to it. It's heavy. He articulates really well, which we'll get into, and the detail is really nice. Let's look at some of that detail up close. Now, this is the alternate head sculpt. This is the one that comes in the package, and there's some really nice features about it. One, the eye patch is great. Looks good. It's painted really well. If you look real close, and I don't know if my camera is going to see this, but he's got that sort of jagged edge pattern that he had on the TV show itself. So that's really nice, and that's actually the plastic itself, kind of ridges in it. So it's very well done. Now, I was thinking the key that came with the Governor was an actual accessory, and it's actually something that's molded into the plastic, but it's right there around his neck. And so there's that. That might be the key that he used to lock up his daughter in that room back before he left Woodbury. I may be wrong about that, but I think that's what that key is supposed to symbolize. I love how the detail in the face, it's just dirty. He's got dirt on his face. I mean, the land of the Walking Dead, the place where the series takes place, in general, is not a clean place. And so it's cool that they've got the little bitty dirt touches on his neck and into his face. And the gray sideburns are pretty cool. Brown hair, nice paint all the way around. The eyebrows have a nice shade of paint. The eyes themselves, or the eye in this case, almost looks like there's a bit of blue in there. It's hard to see real clearly here, but it does look that way. You got the brown patch here on the vest itself. This is a kind of a darker blue than what are on the sleeves, and that's okay because, again, it's a vest, so that looks good. Lots of different patterns, a little bit of gold right here, which I think is supposed to be more kind of scuffle, dirt kind of stuff. You can see the intricate detail in the plastic where the pockets would be molded in. The sleeves themselves do match the collar underneath, so you've got that continuity between really with the undershirt. I like how there's lots of in plastic molded detail in the sleeves to give it that impression that he's actually rolled them up. I also think it's cool that it's got a little bit of a kind of a bunched up look in his back area, which is again how that would really wear on a person. So they didn't have to do that. That could have been flushed straight down, and I love the detail there. He's got stitches in the pants. He's got a pant pocket right there. The belt complete with belt holes, silver belt buckle, and a real worn pant kind of look. Dirty knees as they would be, and scuffed up shoes. I don't know if you can see that, but the shoes look phenomenal. So overall, the detail here is wonderful. Now he's got this bracelet on one hand, and on the other hand, he does have his watch. Now that's in plastic molded detail as well. And the watch, it's so intricately done. I mean, you can just about barely see where the little hour hand would be. The inside of the watch is yellow. The outside is silver and a brown band. I mean, just the little things on this figure are absolutely wonderful. Articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so he can look up, down, and all around. The joints on this thing are really stiff, and that's a good thing. You don't want this guy to be floppy, and so that looks good. He's got a ball and hinge inside of his arm right there, and like most figures, when you lift the arm up, it looks a little bit wonky in the shoulder area. The shoulder basically just disappears into the body, but you got a lot of full movement from it, and that's okay. I mean, you know, if you pose your governor like this, it's going to look a little bit silly, maybe. But again, it doesn't take away too much for me. You've got the elbow joint right here that turns at the base of the elbow and hinges on the elbow itself. The wrist is real interesting because the wrist, you've got movement that can go in for weapons. You can also twist the hand around, so there's lots of things you can do there as far as posability is concerned. The legs are real stiff. You're not going to get a whole bunch of up and down. You're not going to be able to seat them down like that. But you do have some movement. You have full articulation in the knees that bend at the knee joint and spin all the way around. The feet themselves are also on a bit of a ball joint. It feels like it. So you've got some posability in the feet. And pegs down here, if you have a stand or want to stand him up on a peg, you can do so. I've hip holstered his knife. You can pull that out. And the knife itself, again, there's even detail on this. I mean, you can see the ridges. You can see I need lotion. You can see the ridges in the handle of the knife. You've got silver right there, so that looks real good. It fits in that one holstered, in the pocket holster perfect. And in turn, also fits in his hand really well. So if you want to make it look like he's coming at you with a knife, you can certainly do that with no problem. One thing I should mention is the hands themselves, the little fingertips, kind of go into the upper portion of the hand. That's cool. I think that's mainly just, I don't think it's supposed to be anything other than to give you a little bit of flexibility in the hand themselves. I'm not positive, but there is that. He even has places where the fingernail would be and the thumb, and that's just a lot of detail. I like that a lot. Now on the other side, you've got his holstered gun, and this doesn't quite work as well as I think that it should, mainly because it doesn't fit in there quite well. I mean, you can sort of get it wedged in, and I'm not saying that you can't keep working at it to get this thing to go fully in. You probably can. I just haven't done that with my figure yet. But the problem with it is this little overflap here. You can't peg it in. Now, I love that it has a peg. So if you got that thing in there, you can peg this right into the holster. And that's just, again, it's that little bitty detail that really brings so much to this figure. But as is, you can put it in, but you really got to work it before you plan on snapping that thing shut. And the way his fingers are articulated, he can hold his weapon just fine and looks fairly believable, like he's going to reach in there and squeeze the trigger. Now, he also comes with this extended knife, and again, the detail is excellent. He doesn't have a way to holster this one, but no big deal. I mean, you know, you can just put it in his hand, and you know what the governor's capable of doing with big, long knives. We'll leave it at that. Now, to swap out the head, it's a pretty easy process. All you need to do is reach your hand in there, and because the head has the ball joint actually in the head itself, and you're pulling that whole thing out versus just the head out of the ball joint. When you take the head off, you kind of want to give it a squeeze and pull the whole thing straight up so that you don't disconnect it from the ball joint itself. All right, so once you've gotten it off, just toss that head to the side, pick up your new head. You've got the ball joint right there, and you're basically just going to slot that into his neck. Give it a little push, and just like that, his eye has been magically healed. So there you go. Now this version of the head sculpt looks a bit more like David Morrissey, especially from that angle. That looks a lot like the actor. So, I mean, overall, both the heads are great, but I think if you stack them up side by side, of which one looks more like the actor, I think the one without the eye patch looks more like the actor. But again, that's just me, and they both look good. So is my first purchase here in the Walking Dead toy line. Do I recommend him? Is he worth your time and money? Well, that's very simple for me. The answer is yes, without a shadow of a doubt. This guy is great. These figures are great. They feel good in hands. The detail is off the chart. Unbelievable. Fantastic. I'm definitely looking forward to picking up more from this series. Thanks again for watching eBEFOREi Video Reviews. I appreciate everything you guys do. I really, really appreciate your support. Couple of FYI things. I do a Ustream show every Friday, sometimes every other Friday, and you can find details of all of these things at my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/eBEFOREi. And when I do them, it's Friday nights, usually around 10 p.m. Eastern, so feel free to join in on the fun, and we'll get crazy and wacky. You can also reach me through Twitter. I'm at eBEFOREiNet, and if you're watching this video embedded anywhere other than YouTube, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/eBEFOREiNet. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again real soon.